hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Process to Purpose show with your girl, your sister Salome. This is the Black History Month edition, and I am so excited to really talk to my guest today to just share throughout this whole month about our culture, our history. How important is it for us to talk about it? Yes, it is very important. And I am so excited. As usual, let me just back up. Hold on. I want to tell you, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to subscribe, like, share, and just listening. You have truly been a blessing to me. You have truly been a supportive person to me, and I appreciate you. And I want you to also be a blessing. So go ahead and share this broadcast so others can hear our story and just reflect on our history. We can't allow to forget. We can't forget our history. It is so important because if we don't remember where we're coming from, then we won't have a clue where we need to go. All right, with me today is my friend and my brother, VanSwan Wide. I'm so excited. This young man is just doing so many amazing things in the African American community. And I am so grateful to be able to be blessed by his ministry, his life, his story. And so today we will be sharing about the things that he's doing and how he's affecting change and changing generations and leaving a legacy. So you too can see that, listen, we all have a purpose on earth, even though there's a process that's attached to it. We can share and we can get knowledge and how we can do it, how we can go about doing it, the resources that we need so we can move forward together, right? Yes, together. Okay, so I just want to welcome you, VanSwan. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Process to Purpose show. How are you doing today? God
I'm
bless you.
doing well. Thank you for having me. First and foremost, to have me on is an honor, and I definitely appreciate you even extending the invitation. So first off, thank you for that. I appreciate you. Yeah.
Thank you
To
so
answer your
much.
question, I'm doing well. I'm doing good. How are
You're
you?
doing well. I am doing, listen, it could have been different this morning, but I'm grateful to God that I'm alive. And
Yes.
my prayers are with those who are having such a hard time and difficult time in this season. So we continue to pray for them, even though we talk about the things that we're doing and we're grateful for life, we still remember the challenges that others are facing at this time. So I want to get into this. Our topic today is Lens of Purpose with VanSwan. And of course, yes, this is Black History Month, the month of February, and we will be talking about uh, just the different things that we have gone through. How do we learn from it, and how things are affecting us spiritually, mentally, emotionally, financially, and how are we affecting the change in our community and in our nation. So one of the questions I want to ask you first, Van Swan, is what is your purpose? What is your purpose? And when did you find out that this was your purpose?
Wow, good question. You know what? I think that my purpose for sure is to uplift and encourage other people. And I think that for me, I thought it was only in the form of music, which is something that I'm very passionate about. But I recognize that music was something that inspired other people. It encouraged other people. There's been songs that I've written that God has allow people to come back to me and say, "Hey, because you wrote that song or you sung that song, it stopped me from committing suicide, or it stopped me from other thoughts or different things like that." So I know that my purpose is definitely to uplift and encourage. But now, as I've gotten older, I recognize that it's not just in the form of music. It's all in the same field of encouraging and inspiring, but I inspired with mentoring. I inspired with conversation with Van. I inspire with my music. I inspire with fashion. I inspire and encourage in other different realms that God has allowed me to do so. But definitely, I feel like my purpose is to inspire and encourage and uplift, for
I
sure.
love I love it because we need that in our community. And let me just back up too, because you talked about your music and your mentorship, and I want to talk about that for a little while. And I have my notes and my questions, so I'm going to be looking down. But nonetheless, so Vance, when you have your TV show, as well, talking about purpose. Nothing or Nobody TV show. I mean, when I saw that, I was like, wow, Nothing or Nobody. I started thinking about where I am, even with my spiritual walk with God. First, like it just allowed me to really think about what I am doing, right? And how I'm affecting change, how I'm reaching out to others as well. So talk to me about your TV show and why you came up with that, and then we'll go down your list. We'll go down the
Yeah.
list.
So the show is called Nothing or No. The show is called Conversation with Van, and it stemmed from the pandemic. Actually, during the time when everything was slowing down and we weren't able to um, work as we would normally, our book tours and different things like that, which is the top of 2020, someone challenged me and said something to me that actually made me upset. And what they said to me was, "I feel like you're not using your platform to the maximal potential, or to meaning at the particular time I had a nice number of followers on social media and different things of that nature, and I was using only music as an avenue to what I thought was to uplift and encourage. But there's so much more to that, you know." And someone challenged me and said, I feel like you can be using your platform to a higher capacity and doing different things. And I was like, man, after I got calmed down, I actually realized and sat with that and was like, you know what, I actually probably could do some more to inspire and encourage, right? And to use my platform. And with that came Nothing or Nobody, the album first. And that stemmed with me just taking a couple of songs from different projects that I've done previously and putting on this project, but also taking brand new music, like a song called King, which talks about, seeing the greatness in yourself. A lot of times, or for me personally, I struggled with seeing the greatness that God has placed inside of me. Other people might see it, other people might point it out, but it took a minute for me to actually see that. And it was during the pandemic where the song came to me and was a reminder, like, you're destined for greatness. It's time out for playing. There's so many people who depend on what you have to offer and the things that God has placed inside of you. So the album Nothing or Nobody came from that. From there came Conversation with Van, which is all about purpose, which is, Nothing or Nobody is about purpose too, as well. Just reminding people to not let nothing or nobody stop you from reaching your maximum potential. We are all great. We're all destined for greatness. And whether you see it or not, you are here for a reason. There's something inside of you that someone else needs. There's something, whatever that is, whether you're a hairstylist, whether you are a vocalist, whether you're a book writer, there's something inside of you that somebody needs. So you can't afford to stop. You can't afford to let nothing or nobody stop you, and when sometimes that includes yourself. You have to look past your negativity. You have to look past your insecurities and realize that somebody needs you. So that's what Conversation of Van is with. The Conversation with Van is about. It's about me having conversations just like I'm having with you, and getting behind the reason why you do what you do, right? So you might be a singer, you might be a writer, you might be a pastor, you might be a different, but there's something behind all of that. There's a reason why you're doing what you're doing, and I'm interested in that. I'm interested in the transparent story that has to do with your journey, your process to get to where you are now. So Conversation with Van is about that, as well as Nothing or Nobody. Just basically encouraging and reminding people that we all have purpose. We all have a reason.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you have a number of albums. How many albums do you have?
Four.
Four.
Yeah,
Wow.
four.
You have some amazing songs that I have listened to that have really blessed me and uplifted me. So
Thank you.
I'm just thank God for you for just being obedient, because so many times God has given us so many things. We talk about purpose, like we have to recognize what that is and
Mhm.
pull it out of us. And as you said, sometimes we don't even see the greatness inside of us, and it takes someone on the outside. So it is also important for us to have the right persons around us to be able to see that and push us and pull us, because we kind of get complacent and comfortable, right? Even the book that I wrote, Giving Birth to Purpose in an Uncomfortable Place, we get comfortable and we want to stay there because we're safe and we don't have to share so many things that a lot of people are not seeing. So it's good to have those people around us that will be able to just push us past
Yeah.
our own limits, our own mindset sometimes. So that's very good. So you have 4 albums, and yes, VanSwan sings, not
Oh,
SINGS, but SANGS.
wow. Thank
He
you.
sings, and your voice is so amazing. And I know that God is just gonna just thrust you in greatness with your
Oh, thank
voice
you.
and your gifting as well. I want to talk about your mentorship. You mentioned you mentor. I would think like African American young men or men on a whole. Talk to me about that. And how do you why do you want to mentor young men?
Yeah. So I've been working for a nonprofit organization called Young Visionaries. The founder is Terrence Stone. Shout out to him. He's super, super dope, super inspiring, and definitely making a difference in the community and the lives of the African American community, especially. But not only just our community, but others as well, but especially our community, So that is super, super dope to be a part of this organization. I've been there for about 3 years now. And it's something that I definitely enjoy because it allows people, other young people, to see that you're not a product of your environment. I come from San Bernardino. I'm born and raised, but I've out of my family, I don't think there's plenty of people who've ever traveled outside of the country, and been able to do their gifts and their talent. That's no shade to anybody, but the Lord has found favor in me to be able to do so. And I want to use those experiences, the traveling, the ups and downs of the music industry, the ups and downs of insecurities, the ups and downs of whatever it is that I've gone through in life, whether it's professionally in music or in my personal life. I want to be able to give that back to these students and give back to these kids and let them know it's going to be all right. It might look crazy. It might look, however it is, and people might write you off and say that you are an at-risk kid or you're a bad kid or you're this and all those different stuff, but you're not. You're just somebody who needs somebody to talk to. You're just somebody who needs a different perspective because you might not feel comfortable talking to mommy. You might not feel comfortable talking to dad. You might not feel comfortable if dad is even in the picture for some, because those are a lot of times when we're dealing with these students, they don't have dad in the picture. They're raised by grandparents, or sometimes they're raised in group homes. The spectrum of people that we see is so broad, but the common concern is always the same, and they always just want to feel love. They always just want to feel like somebody cares, and that's what we offer. When it comes to academic stuff, whether they're struggling in academic areas or if it's social stuff, just behavior issues, we're just there to help. We recently just did a talent show, which I'm super excited about. It was a virtual talent show, which allowed 10 students to really just showcase their talent. And a lot of kids now, they're at home with quarantine, can't really, be with their friends, and they don't have a lot of activities that they can normally do pre-COVID. So, just to be able to present this talent show was a really fun thing. It's up my alley because, we get to incorporate music as well as the mentoring. So it was a win-win situation. But I love mentoring. Young Visionaries, been there for a while. And I'm excited about what's to come and what we're doing now. Yeah.
Yeah. What are some of the feedback that you have gotten, like from the man or the young man that you're raising, and their family members that have perhaps seen changes in them? What are some of the feedbacks?
You know what? The kids are so appreciative. Even when they go off to graduate. And we worked with elementary kids all the way up to high school and people going into college. So it's so broad, but we get a lot of positive influences, a lot of positive feedback with people just saying thank you for taking the time to go the extra mile and to have a conversation, because again, at the end of the day, we all have a story. We all have gone through certain things, and we all have experienced trauma, and if we're not careful, the trauma that you experienced as a kid, you would take that into your adulthood. So if we're able to not nip that in the bud now, we're not counselors, we're not, but to be able to give you a way to escape and to talk through your issues instead of people just like I said before, he's bad, or they don't listen, or they just disruptive, or they're sleeping in class. Well, they're sleeping in class because they haven't slept all night because of their living situation, or maybe they're in a bad mood because they're hungry, they haven't eaten. Maybe school is the only time they get to eat. Instead of just looking at it from a exterior situation, you have to look at it internally and see beyond all of that. When I notice when some people, there's some kids who don't even like you to touch them. Oh, maybe because they've been abused, maybe because if there's something else, you just. And so I want to be that voice for that little boy, or that don't have a voice, or just feel like, man, everybody's just writing me off, or I want more, I want greater, but I don't know how to get there. So for
Well,
sure.
thank you so much for that service right there. That's just service and serving our community and our African American, especially our African American young men. They need that. They need that role model. They want to see. They really want to see people who they can relate to. And if you can share your testimony and your experience, like I wasn't always like this now, and you can be like this too, but there is a process that I had to go through. I was lacking, there are people that I couldn't talk to, but there was someone there for me. And now I want to, in return, be there for you. So I think that's really good. Thank you so much. That
Yeah.
is very impactful in our African American community. So I want to talk about this because this has been worldwide news. There's so many things that have happened throughout 2020, apart from the pandemic, or in addition to the pandemic, about crime and violence, especially police brutality with African American men and young boys. And I want to know if there has been any experiences with you, and how have you dealt with those?
Yeah,
Care to
absolutely.
share?
We definitely as black men especially get racial profiled, and going into a store, people looking at you a certain type of way, or getting pulled over for no apparent reason. Like, I've experienced all of those different things. And even traveling to other countries sometimes, it's interesting because there are some countries who love you because of you're different, because you're black, because you do music and all these different things, and there's other people who hate you for that exact same reason, because you're black, because you're I mean, it's like, oh, you know what I mean? So I've experienced it home here with police brutality and different stuff, and abroad. So um it's something that, unfortunately, you almost become numb to it.
Mhm.
you know you almost become used to the name calling, or the stares, or the people holding their purse. And I'm always in a hat, I'm always in a beanie, that's just my personal style. So if I have a hoodie on, if I'm looking too rough, I'm always getting those stares. There's always, but you get used to it, and that's sad.
Very sad.
It is very sad, because it's almost like, even when people who deal with trauma, they become so numb to it that they can't even see how deep they're in whatever situation that they're in, or whatever. Um, so, to answer your question, it's something that I've experienced, definitely have experienced.
How have you dealt with it? Like, share an experience with me or with our audience, and how have you dealt with it? And I want the perspective as an African American man, and I know you are saved. Thank God. I want that how do you view that as a African American man, and and has someone who knows God, and know that, you know we know the scripture. You can't do unto you have to do unto others as you always like them to do unto you. You have to love them even though they have hurt you. So how do you view those things, and how have you dealt with those things?
Woo! I remember one time I had just gotten a car. It was a Chrysler LeBaron. I was in high school, and because it was uh, a new car to me, I didn't have the license plate. You know, but clearly there was a sticker in my window
Yeah.
that indicates that this is a new car. This is a new. And I just remember being pulled over, and I was probably about 18 years old. I was young. Um, and the officer just not being nice, and just, I had everything that I needed to, and just I remember feeling scared to even just, can I reach into my glove compartment to get my registration, or can I do this different thing? And it's not that he did anything hostile, he didn't pin me or anything out, but all of these line of questions when everything that you need is already in front of you. You're asking about some plates that clearly this is a brand new car for me. The register, it's, so why are you asking me and questioning me with stuff that you should already know? But again, after that, it became the norm to be pulled over, or to be, you know looked at a certain way when you go into certain stores, or when, and it's never right, it's never okay. But again, you have to not accept it. I don't want to say accept it, but you have to, again, you just become numb to it, and that's,
Speak
I
out
don't
on it.
even know, what to say. It's just, it's crazy because you don't want to do too much to get shot. You know what I mean? You don't want to also look like a punk, like they just being able to say and do whatever to you. But it's a scary situation, because sometimes you making the wrong move can be life or death.
Right.
So I don't know. I really don't know how to
I know.
really
I
deal with
think.
that.
I think. It's just we have to do it collectively.
Mhm.
We've seen all the marches and the protests and stuff. We have to do it collectively because even though we have the opportunity to do the voting and everything, we have to come together with an understanding that we are not going to take this anymore, and we are going to speak up against these things. And so we have seen it over the past, year and a half, where even with telephones now, you take pictures and you record things and you take it to court, and
Mhm.
you're doing all of this, and you're praying and hoping that someone will hear you, right, and help you in this situation, so we're not repeating history over and over. I think that's what we've been doing for so long, repeating over and over. But I feel like, especially in our young African American community, they're like, okay, well, enough is enough, and we're tired, and we're going to march, and we're going to let our voices be heard, and we're going to go out there when we are going to vote. And we've seen it even in this election, that I don't want to go down the politics lens, but we've seen it. So we want our voices to be heard. So that's very important. So we touched on a little bit about you being saved as an African American man, and I know you've done multiple music too, gospel, and we do some secular. What
Yeah.
how has that been? Because I know, as Christians, we sometimes we get judged, and sometimes we get looked on a certain way when we're in the church, but we're doing other things. And how has that been for you? And how have you been perceived because of you doing both, gospel and secular? I know, how's that been?
um You know what? To answer your question, I've done 3 gospel albums and 1 secular album. So majority of people know me mostly for the gospel. Um, it hasn't been challenging as it pertains to the general public. I might have friends and family on the side, like, pick your side, choose you this day, who you gonna serve. I might have had that a little bit behind the scenes. But as far as the general public, I really didn't have too many people um, say, because even with my gospel music, um, for me, it's all about the message, I'm very transparent in my message. Um, but in every song, whether it sounds R&B, whether it has a nice groove or tempo to it, it definitely speaks about Jesus Christ. Um, so for me as an artist, I think I am most comfortable, most fulfilled, and most serving my purpose when I'm speaking about the love of Jesus Christ. For me, um, would I write an R&B song for somebody? Would I? For sure. You know what I mean. But I think for me as an artist, my lane, my purpose is is where I'm at. You know, is the gospel encouragement side of things. But to answer your question, I haven't got too much drawback from people
Which
outside of people on the side. My family might be
you
like,
sound like,
you
yeah, I'm
know,
at like
you know what I'm
grandmother,
saying,
great grandmother.
whatever.
Oh, pick your side.
Right, you
You gonna
know.
serve
So
God or the devil?
yeah,
But
but
you have some really good songs, some
thank you.
really good songs that I've really rocked with. Well, love. King, and I'll go to King at the end because I want you to just grace us with a little bit of something. You can't leave the show without gracing us
Oh
with a little
Lord.
bit of something.
Oh Lord.
So we have Unplugged, we have He's Done Enough, we got My Everything the Greatest, and This Is How I Feel. We love this. It's been amazing. He's Everything. Thank You. So you've written all your songs, correct?
Yeah.
You've written
Yeah.
all your songs. How has that process been for you, writing your songs? Like,
You know what? I think every project, especially gospel project, I even wrote or co-wrote every song. I think on my secular album, I didn't write every single thing. But for the most part, I like to write my stuff because music is therapeutic for me. So as I'm dealing with certain things, I use music as that way of escape. Sometimes it's uncomfortable for me because God might tell me to say certain things, and I'm like, I don't know how the general public is going to receive this, especially it being a gospel song. I have songs on there that talk about struggling with smoking or struggling with having sex or struggling with different things as a believer that people they don't you don't talk about that. You talk about it from the other side. You don't talk about it while you're still in it, or you don't talk about it while and I think that for me, me being honest and me being transparent to say that yes, I love the Lord, but yes, I still struggle in certain areas, or yes, I love the Lord, but I'm just now overcoming this, or I'm just now,
yeah,
that I think that allows me to win more people to him,
absolutely.
because I have people coming to me and telling me that, yo, I wouldn't typically listen to this type of gospel or this artist, but your music, I like it. I listen to it because of the beat, because of the message, because of your transparency. So even when I'm feeling, oh Lord, should I say it, I'm reminded of those times that make me be like, yo, someone's freedom could come from a lyric that you write. Or, someone's, the way that they change their thought process, their perspective, our Christianity, our faith, it could change ultimately by you being transparent, So that's just kind of where I am with the whole writing process and the whole album and the music. Just being obedient and transparent and allowing God to take charge, for
Yeah.
sure.
So you talk about being transparent and vulnerability. Tell our audience something about you that they wouldn't know or see. I mean, your friends that are close and your family members may know, but
Mhm.
just something about you that will just give a little bit more insight about who VanSwan is and how, just maybe
Uh,
a little quirk or something. Something you like, something you don't like.
you know what? I'm actually a very quiet, timid guy, and I think that people might assume because they see the fashion, they see me out. I actually do not like speaking, to be completely honest. This makes me so uncomfortable. This.
Love
Uh, but
it.
but it is, so that's another thing that people may or may not know. Like singing, that's nothing. I can do that. I'm more comfortable doing that. But that's one thing. I love to eat. I'm vegetarian. I've been that for a year and some change now. Um, One of my biggest pet peeves is timeliness. People not being on time or wasting my time or anything of that nature. That's something that is
Wait,
really.
hold on. What time do we start? You said
Listen, we was 14 minutes late, but it's okay. It's all right. It's okay.
See,
So
that's the thing. So that's why it's so important to getting to know people because you know this. So next time I'm gonna be like 10, 15 minutes earlier.
it's all good. No, it's all good.
That's good, I know.
But yeah, those are some of the things that I'm interested in. But just being transparent, people will probably not know that um I'm not as confident as one might think. You
Wow.
know, I think people, you know, I've even like my best friend to this day now, when we first met each other, we both were reluctant to speak because he thought that I was cocky. And he thought, and it wasn't that I was cocky. I wasn't comfortable like, hi, I'm VanSwan. Nice to meet everybody in the circle. You know, like I just never been that person. And it's not because I'm cocky or I'm this, it's because I'm shy. I'm scared. I don't want to actually, you know. So that was one of those things that people probably wouldn't know, is that I'm probably not as confident as I am, or not as I portray. Um, but you know, I'm getting over it.
There you go. It's uncomfortable, but
I'm getting
I
over
think
it.
it takes time too. And, I think I wouldn't know that if you didn't tell me that. So that's a good thing. That's a
See,
good thing.
the transparent moment, right?
There
So
you
you said
go.
be
There you go.
transparent. So like, I think that it also comes with being an entertainer, the entertainment side of me, because before um, traveling and doing music, you know, I was only in church. I didn't have a lot of training on how to do interviews or how to uh, be, you know, present while singing and remembering the techniques and remember all these different things. So, you know, I learned that later on in life, but I think the entertainment side of me is what allows me to have what I call this switch. And the switch is, no matter how I'm feeling, no matter how bad my day might be or whatever insecurities I'm having or whatever, I can push past that to make sure that the purpose is served. And whatever that purpose is, if that's doing an interview, if that's singing a song, if that is whatever it is, I can turn that on. I think that's the entertainment side. So I think that's probably why you wouldn't know I'm a little insecure or shy or whatever, or all these different things. It's probably because I can turn it on, you know.
But I like that too, and it makes you really truly depend on God, because if it's your purpose that you're serving, God's gonna make it happen.
Listen.
Like He's gonna set you up. He's just gonna make you feel fine. He's gonna set your mind right, your body right,
Mm,
so that the purpose is being fulfilled and manifested. Because guess what? Whatever you're doing, there, as you said, you talked about it earlier, that it is for someone, and I share this with a lot of people, that what is it that we have on the inside of us? It's not for us. We benefit from it, but it is not for us. There's someone out there that needs a healing, that needs deliverance, that needs food, shelter. And if we're holding on to what is inside of us, then they're going to be stuck. And so it's important for us to release that. So God will help us, because at the end of the day, He needs to get His glory, and people's lives needs to be touched. So thank you
yeah.
so much for that. And I know I'm going to put you on the spot right now, but King is such an amazing song. I remember when I heard it, I just started thinking about everything that was happening in our nation. And
Mm.
it was so fitting, and it was so needed. And I listened to the words, and I really love the words, and I love that you took the time during that whole situation to pen those words and write it. So just share a little bit about that, and then just give us a little something. I know it's a spot, but you talk about the gift inside of you. It's for me right now. And our audience.
Yeah. Well, first off, can you hear me? Because the gardener outside blowing all kind of stuff in the background. Can you hear?
I don't even hear the gardener. You're
Okay. Well,
good.
praise the Lord, because I'm like, man of God, can you move on over? Like, um, but to answer your question, King was actually formed during the pandemic. It was fitting for the racial injustice and stuff. If you see the video, a lot of that is put inside of the video. But it really wasn't even about any of that. It was for me personally. When the Lord gave it to me, it was really just a reminder of who He is and who I am. Again, sometimes we get so caught up in woe, it's me, and things don't look the way it's supposed to look, or I deal with XYZ, or I struggle with XYZ. I'm not where I'm supposed to be in life. I don't have what I thought I would have by this age, and all these different things you put on yourself, the pressure, the insecurities, the thoughts, the perceptions that sometimes people may have about you. Now you've adapted those things and made those things your own feelings. And I had to really, during pandemic, stop and say, yo, yeah, there's plenty of people who look better than me. There's plenty of people who sing better than me. There's plenty of people who speak better than me. There's plenty of people who do whatever it is better than me, but none of them are me. So I have to master being me and be the best version of me possible. That means accepting my flaws. That means accepting the gap tooth. That means accepting the man boobs. That means accepting my insecurities with my voice. That means accepting whatever it is that I felt like it kept me from being my best potential, my maximum, reaching my maximum potential. I got to put that aside because there's something in someone that depends on me. So once I recognize the greatness in me, the king in me, the king who's speaking through me, the king, then I'm able to do whatever it is that I need to do. So that's definitely what King was about. It was really just a reminder, God reminding me of who I am. I'm unique. I'm different. I am me.
Yes.
And that's what the song is really about. And it was fitting for the time, for the racial injustice, as I mentioned the video, which is on YouTube if you want to check that out. um but it fit with what I was saying in the song, but it was really just about me, and God reminding me of who I was.
He created you to be fearfully and wonderfully made in his likeness and in his image. And he is the King of Kings. So come on, you gotta be,
Mhm.
you gotta walk the walk. Are you willing to just share just a little of King with us?
Yeah. Okay. It's always interesting to figure out what part to sing,
What
what
part?
part to sing on that song. Uh, Mm. Oh no, my name is not nigga. You call me Mr. White or you call me sir. Put some respect on my name. I'm a child of the king. I'ma treat you the same. I'm out here trying to win souls, yeah. Spread love to all of God's people. Oh, he just reminded me that I'm unique. It's something great in me, and it's my time. Time to sit on my throne. Yeah, yeah. And wear my crown, 'cause I am royal. Oh, ooh, I'm a king, I'm a king, I'm a king. Yes, there you go.
Awesome, awesome. VanSwan, I cannot thank you enough. I've learned a lot about you, and I'm sure my audience will be able to relate to a lot of the things that you have shared today. I could see your heart and your true intentions, and I just pray that the purpose of God will continue to manifest and evolve in your life. You will see expansion. I decree and declare expansion over your life, in your ministry, in your walk, even mentorship, being able to extend and reach even across the aisle to even our counterparts. So we too can teach them how we want to be loved, or we ought to be loved and looked at. And so it's very important. I'm so glad for the impact that you're making in your personal life, in the lives of our community, in the music industry, because we need that voice. We definitely need that voice. And I'm so glad that you are obedient to the voice of God. You are walking in your purpose. And listen, all my Process to Purpose family, you can check out VanSwan on Conversation with Van. I'm going to be putting that information in the description below. You can follow him. He's on Instagram, he's on Facebook, he's on YouTube, and he's all over the place. He's on Spotify, all the musical platforms you can think of. You want something to really bless your soul? You better go ahead and check out my brother VanSwan. All right. Thank you so much, VanSwan,
Thank
for
you so
taking time
much.
out of your busy schedule to come
Thank
on
you.
and share with us. We love you, we appreciate you, and
I
we
love you
want you
too.
back on the
Thank
show.
you so much for having me. I appreciate you, and continue doing what God has instructed you to do. This show is amazing. I look forward to watching this episode as well as further episodes, future episodes, and everything that you have going on, your single, your book, everything. Just keep doing what God instructed you to do. And I thank you. Thank you for even thinking of me to have me on the show. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you so much, everyone. Again, I say for taking time out of your busy schedule to just tune in. Go ahead and be a blessing and share this broadcast, Lens of Purpose with VanSwan. white Black History Month edition. I am so excited, and I hope you're excited for all the other episodes that we have for the month of February. Go ahead and subscribe, like, and share, and be a blessing to someone. Let's have this conversation. It is important. And so, as usual, thank you again for tuning in to Process to Purpose Show. Remember, you too have a purpose in your life, something that God has called you to do. But remember that there was a process attached to it. But yet, remember, there's a process, there's a purpose for your process. God bless you, and thank you for tuning in. Bye.